Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of the Work Less, Make More podcast. In today's episode, we have a special guest. And I've already forgot how to say her name. Let me take it. You can take that part out. I was like, oh my God, what was I supposed to call her again?
Evakarin.
Evakarin. Okay. Just
you want to restart
out, Erica. No.
You can just restart.
No, yeah, it's okay. I'll just say I have a special guest, Evakarin Wallin, and she helps coaches and heart-based entrepreneurs that are ready to step up to their game, rewire their minds so they will know. Sorry, let me start that over. She helps coaches and heart-based entrepreneurs that are ready to step up to their game, rewire their minds so they will, with no effort, start acting more boldly, see more opportunities, and get clients to come more easily. Well, that sounds amazing. I can't wait to jump in with you today. It is my pleasure to introduce Evakarin Wallin, the Queen of Transformation. She is a coach, author, speaker, and the creator of the expansion method, which she has already done a little preview with me, and it is really interesting. So I can't wait for you guys to see it. So let's jump in. So tell me a little bit about how you got started with this whole expansion method.
Yeah, it started way back, actually 20 years ago when I became a coach. And I met someone that did something really strange, but it was like you can do something energy-wise, and it didn't touch or anything, but I really felt the shift happening inside of me. So I knew what was possible, but I had no idea how he did it. But you know how they say
someone was coaching you and they didn't do anything.
He wasn't even a coach. He was, some kind of therapist, but doing something strange. So anyway, I saw that this together with coaching would be amazing because that would really quickly move the people forward.
Yeah.
So I set my mind to look for how can I do this? And at the time, I didn't know it, but I had a lot of issues myself. You're so blind to yourself, but I could see it in my results. I thought I took trainings in sales and marketing and did my best. And I felt I was doing exactly as they said, but I didn't get the results they promised. And doing that over and over again, I realized that it wasn't about the teachings. It was something about me. And on my journey, I learned about shadow work, and that was a big thing for me to understand that the uncomfortable feelings that I was trying to run away from actually were my guides to a point that if I stayed and just listened to them and their message, number one, they went away by themselves. I didn't have to fight them anymore. And I learned things about myself. And it wasn't nice things that I learned about myself, but it was important because, for instance, if I had a feeling that I'm worthless, I'm not going to succeed as a coach, that's good information to know that deep down I have that belief. Mm-hmm. But when it comes up to my conscious mind, I can do something about it. So anyway, I loved that work and I went deeper into that, and that continued my journey to find how can I resolve these issues as easily as possible and still going deep. And first I learned how to dissolve these patterns, these unwanted, uncomfortable reactions. Yeah. And I was attending this business network meeting in Stockholm every Friday lunch. It took me the whole day to go there, spend the time at the meeting and have meetings afterwards. And I wanted to help salespeople and entrepreneurs to dissolve their, issues around selling.
Right.
And no one got me. It was like I was, talking over the shoulder to these people, and a few people said, "Oh, yeah, I know someone that's depressed. You should talk to that person." I said, "No, I'm not that kind of person."
I'm not a therapist.
Exactly. And I felt so discouraged after that year. And I was sitting down and just because I was so frustrated creating a vision for myself. And one of the things I wrote down was clients come to me easily and effortlessly. And I did this process with myself without even believing that anything would change. It took me 2 weeks. And then I met someone that asked me, so what do you do? And I answered the same way I did at the network meetings 50 times, expecting to get the same result. And this time she said, oh, that sounds interesting. I want to try. And I was like, what?
Yay, this thing is working.
And the thing is working. And the thing was that I learned how important it is to not just dissolve the old stuff, but also to tell the subconscious mind what you want to create.
So it's sort of like pushing it away and then filling it with something good that will support you instead of like that negative belief that's kind of bringing you down.
Exactly. Because if you imagine that, I estimate the subconscious mind is to 80-90% responsible for our results in life, our habits, how we take action or not take action, everything like that.
Yeah.
I would like to say 100%, but just to be sure. So when you see you have a result coming up that you don't like, you can see that and then make a new decision and tell your subconscious mind in a way it understands what you would like to create. And then it will make you create it, just like it created the other result before.
It sounds so easy, but I know it's not always quite that easy, but it sounds like you have that method. Like I know I'm just being a little skeptical here with you, not skeptical, but like, I totally believe in all this anyway. And I'm totally law of attraction and everything. But sometimes it's like, just like saying mantras or the money's flowing. Like, I'm sure there's been people out there who have tried that approach. If I just look at these cards every day, that say clients are coming or the money's on the way or I'm happy and joyful, if I just keep saying it enough or kind of reminding myself of it, that it will work. But I think we're starting to realize that that doesn't really work, like, because that's almost like pretending that everything is okay when it's really not. That's
the worst thing, actually. You don't go around with a broken bone and say, no, I think I just, it's going to end.
I feel my bones healing.
Well, they are, but they might be
right,
some
but
support.
They're not going to come straight unless you get it set, right?
So I don't like this thing with positive thinking because that is denial.
Right.
You have to see the reality as it is, but the reality is as it is right now, based on the history, and it doesn't necessarily tell you about your future. You create your future in the now.
Yes.
And the reason why affirmations and things like that don't work so well, it might work with things that are not so important to you, and there's a reason for that, why that happens.
Right. Because I have heard people say, oh, I can manifest like the easiest little things, the parking spots and the little things. But then when it comes to like money or things, we have a lot of baggage around.
Exactly.
A lot of stories or relationships. Oh, if I just think good thoughts about my spouse or my partner, that it's all going to be sunshines and rainbows. But then you have a big fight or something, right? Yeah, so I can see why in some ways it's like, oh yeah, I can manifest that thing really easy. And then the other things, it feels like it's just never happening, or it starts to happen and then it changes, or, and I'm sure it's us, right? It's where our vibrations and it's what our thoughts and it's the way we're acting. And because we probably go back to those old patterns, whether we know it or we don't know it, probably a little both, right? And then we're kind of like, oh yeah, but I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, and I'm still not getting the clients, right? Or
because you're not being the way you should be to get it. And the reality always gives us feedback, and it's 100% honest feedback.
Right.
Reality doesn't say that, oh, you have been so nice today, I'm going to give you this extra, even though you don't deserve it. Sort of.
She's acting really sweet today. Let's throw her a client. Right.
No, it's about, and
it's a
just
mirror,
imagine,
really, right? It's a mirror. Yeah.
So just imagine, I'm sitting here, just pretend that I don't have any clients and I'm desperate for money. And I'm going to say, oh, I am abandoned. I'm abandoned.
I'm abandoned. The clients are coming. And the whole time your heart is pounding, you're fearful.
Exactly.
And you're grasping and you're doing everything you can to get a client, and out of desperation. And that energy is really bad for getting clients.
Because this is the part that determines what we get.
Yeah.
So no matter how much you're up here, this doesn't mean a thing. You know, my book is called The Powerless Thought. It's only in Swedish right now, but
I was like, ooh, that sounds good.
Because so many people talk about the power of their thought, but how many times have you been thinking that you should do stuff that never got done? Mm-hmm. And how many times have you felt, I have to do that, even if it wasn't really, a good thing for you?
Right.
So this is always winning. So you need to get,
right? Yeah.
And that is why it's so important to notice the reactions we have, because they're telling us what is ready to be released. Otherwise, it wouldn't come out to the surface if we weren't ready.
I see. So we're starting to feel fear. We're starting to feel something's not right with what we're doing or the way we're marketing. I'm just trying to put it into perspective from people who are in, coaches who are in business. Yeah. So it's after a while, I think, it can be kind of a cycle, I think, too. At least for me, what I've seen is like I get really excited about something and I'm all in a great space about it. And then let's just say, for example, we can use this, like I launched this program, which I thought was going to be this amazing thing. And it wasn't quite that amazing. I'm like, why? I was all over it. It was like, great, And then you start to get a little, well, let me try changing, and then then it's like almost you're jaded a little about it, right? Because then you're like, well, now I'm going to relaunch it again, but now I'm not quite so excited about it because it didn't go well the first time. I changed a couple things. Let me try it this way, but you've already got this feeling or this, well, what if it goes the same way again? And what if nobody wants to buy it? And, and all these things are happening. No wonder things don't happen because, it's like you've got such conflicting, I know for me, I'm super excited. I'm like, this is the best program ever. But then I know there are things that are going on here. Yeah. But what if I'm the only one who thinks that? Right. Yeah.
And I created something called the manifestation cycle. And it starts out with this: you have an idea and you get all excited, and then you start to take action, and then something happens. It always happens something when you're about to create something new where you haven't done or been before. Because
you mean something bad happens or something you weren't hoping for happens? Or something good happens?
A reaction.
Something
happens that make you feel uncomfortable in one way or another. Oh. And that is the message, because it's like the subconscious mind is telling you that, okay, I hear that you want to get up to the ladder, the next step.
Right.
Is there. And for you to be aligned with that step, you have something to take care of. You have to up-level an idea about yourself.
So it's sort of like, before you can get here, you've got to take care of this.
If you want to move up without effort, yes.
Right. Like there's something blocking you, and this is the way for the universe to tell you that you have to take care of this thing, or you've got to release or do something so that you can, like you said, sort of shoot up to the next level.
So, where you are now, you are aligned with that place because that's where you are. And then you have an idea that you want to create something new.
Right.
And then there are parts of you that are not aligned with that part, because if you were aligned with that, you should already
be there. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So this we need to feel it, as something uncomfortable for us to take notice.
Mm.
And the sooner we take notice, the less uncomfortable it is. But you know, things we pushed away for so long, they keep coming back and they become stronger and stronger and stronger
Yeah, it's
because we don't
interesting because for
listen.
me, it's very hidden sometimes. My feelings are not always what I lead with. And so it's almost like I feel like this is it. Like there's never a doubt, but then something will happen. I'm like, oh, so obviously there is something really hidden. I'm thinking from what you're saying, because to me, I'm like, I am in this is it, but then something will come up and I'm like, oh, and I guess that's the point. Like
Yeah.
how I react at that place is
Yes.
determining. It's not like all of that great energy that I came into it with. I was thinking, well, that's got to be enough to make this thing work because I'm so excited. This is like amazing. But you're saying there is something still hidden there
It's,
that is,
you know,
is maybe hard to uncover. In order for me to go to the next place, this really should be resolved, or else I'm going to have to really just put in, like you said, all the effort, right? And really work
exactly, because you have to break through to get there, and you can do it by working hard.
Yeah, but that doesn't always work, and I don't like to do it that way. It's too much.
Me neither.
I think that'll only take you so far. Like I used to be, I have a lot of masculine energy, and at least that's sort of my go-to. And so over the years, I do now consider myself more of a woo person. Like I've really like embraced it, and and so I feel like balancing it for me is sometimes a hard. I kind of swing from one end, like I'll be doing all of the things over here, and then like, hey, wait a minute, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. And then the pendulum kind of swings back. You know, do some manifestation, do some like meditation, do whatever you need to do to kind of get yourself into the flow. And I think there is something to be said for kind of balancing and kind of being in the middle. But yeah, obviously there is some issues going on. So if you want to do your the expansion method, as sort of, since we're talking about this, and this actually did happen to me, and I am kind of like coming out the other side of this, I would love for you to, and I'm sure that everybody listening has either tried to launch a course, or who has tried to get coaching clients and fill their practice, or tried a new marketing thing that they thought was going to be like the bomb, which was the bomb. It bombed, right? So yeah, so I think that hopefully let's do this exercise here, and then people can see how you do it. Now there will be some silence in between, so if you guys hear some silence, that's her doing her thing on her part, where she's doing breathing or whatever, just because for those who are not watching but who are listening on the podcast, I don't want it to be like, hey, did the podcast go out?
yeah, totally. Yeah, I would love to. Great. So tell me just the topic of, is it
yeah, so let's just use the topic of this program that I put all this energy and thought it was the most amazing thing, and then it didn't quite go the way I was hoping. I got not as many enrollments as I wanted, and I still do want to use that, you know, even I've made a few little tweaks to it, but I still feel like it's a great program. So there must be something else. Something's
so how do you feel when you think about it?
I feel frustrated. I also feel a little bit of fear. And like, wow, I thought this was the thing and it's not. And
so how do you sense it? Do you feel it in your body somewhere?
I am really going to my heart here and feeling the fear a little bit here, and also in the stomach a little bit too, like kind of like fluttery butterflies, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So on a scale from 1 to 10, where 10 is the most intense, how would you rate it right now?
About an 8.
Okay, perfect. I'm always saying perfect when people feel discomfort.
Right.
Because then we're on the right spot and we can change it. That's why. So
yeah, well, we can't ignore it, obviously, so we gotta push through.
So now I'm going to be quiet for just a few seconds, and then I'm going to ask you to check in again and see if any change has happened or not, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so think about the same thing.
Okay. I'm still feeling a lot of fear, but maybe it went down a little to like a 6
Okay.
or 7.
Yeah, actually,
There's also some doubt coming in. Maybe the fear has gone in, but then the doubt is kind of like, well,
right.
like, who's to say you're not going to get the same outcome? Like, I'm feeling that is kind of coming out. The fear seems to be subsided a little, but then the doubt.
So may I ask you if anything specific was going around in your life when you were about 19 years old?
Ooh, let's see. 19 years old. Let's see. Think back. Well, I'd gone off.
Usually the first thing that pops up in your mind.
Yeah. Well, the only thing that popped into my mind, and I guess I was about 19, it had nothing to do with me per se, but my sister, who was younger than me, was having some issues and was in rehab. So there was sort of a family stress, let's just say. I mean, like I said, it didn't really affect me per se, but obviously as part of the family, and that was kind of going on at that time.
For some reason, that is connected to the situation you have right now.
Interesting.
It's so funny how, incidents that you no longer think about still affects you. So just check in again and see if anything has shifted.
Well, it does feel a little bit more on the neutral side. And also my mind's going, how could this have anything to do with it? Like my brain, my thoughts are kind of coming around, but the feeling is better, definitely.
Yeah.
Now I've shifted off that to thinking about something else.
No, I guess
wondering like where maybe there's some unresolved things there that's coming up here, right?
I can imagine without knowing, but that there were some doubts and stress around how it's going to unfold, or
and interesting, there was some money things that happened at the time. Like, I think it has to do with, like, now that I'm thinking about it, because my parents had to spend money that they had put aside for like our college and different things, and then they had to, this like unexpected expenses came up, and so there was some of that going on.
Okay, so the pattern I see in here is that they had an idea for what's going to happen in the future, and they had to change that idea.
Right.
And you had the idea as well. So it sort of reminded you of this. Everything happens subconsciously, or not everything, but these things are connected, and the logical mind could never, ever work out how they are connected.
Right. I was like, why would that have anything to do with what's going on here?
Yeah, I know.
Interesting.
And it's like, just imagine that you and I would standing beside a small lake. We have lots of lakes in Sweden. And you will look at the forest, you can see all around the lake, and you would say, oh, it's so beautiful here. I can see the whole lake. And I would say to you, no, you're not. And you will look at me and say, well, I do. No, you're just looking at the surface on the lake. It's much more water beneath the surface. And that is how we usually tend to go around in the world and just, I see my reality exactly as it is, and forget there's so much more under the surface.
Right. That's amazing. Well, this is great. Well, how interesting. Are we done with this? I don't want to interrupt.
I don't know.
Okay.
So check in and see how you feel about
it. So, I mean, I'm assuming you're doing something from your end to kind of clear this out. I'm just trying to explain what's happening to other people. So is that what you're trying to do?
I'm sort of holding the space for it to shift within you. So I'm not actually consciously doing anything. It's more like I'm holding the space for it to shift.
I think let's try another little thing, because I'm having some, like, I feel something shifting and some thoughts are coming through too. So
yeah, these things, they want to be seen. They have a message for you, and by me working like this, they will feel seen, so they can open up and give you the message. And you will, even though it not always goes up to your conscious mind, you will still, it's like clear the fog around it. and understand it on some level. And then you will start to act according to this new vibration, or however you want to call it.
And it's so interesting, just as an aside, like I've had someone clear money blocks for me before through my, you know, going back, and this has never come up before. So interesting, you know, because I seem like we're coming from it from a different place. Because we weren't like, what are the money blocks? Like, right? I mean, you must have got some kind of a hit. Like, what happened when you were 19? So something came to you.
And the thing is that it's, I can see two reasons for that. Either you were not ready, or there were other things that were more important at the time. But also what I've seen many times is that people believe that they have worked through things because they might be gone to a therapist or something.
Yeah.
And I still find it, because it's not me who finds it. I'm just asking your body, and your body tells me there's still something there. So you can release a lot of layers on the same thing. So it's not so, you know, so it feels like you can still remember it, but it doesn't haunt you.
Right.
So it's lower.
That's kind of what I've already released all my money blocks.
No, you haven't.
I think maybe we're never done with everything. You know what I mean? Like, I'm coming at this age to now realize, like, there's always going to be some things to work on. We're never going to be finished. We're never going to be done releasing, even though there may be some things, like you said, the big things that had to be taken care of, and maybe those have been, because I have worked on that. But then there's some other things.
Well, the thing is,
I can't even see, like you're saying, that seem to be totally unrelated. But there are, like, who knows the way it got put into the subconscious, right? Or whatever.
You make decisions about things that you're not even conscious of, especially when you grow up. But yeah, I mean, for me, I feel it's a not the right perspective to say to never be finished. It's not the goal to be finished. The goal is to expand your, you know, mold your reality as it would be clay, however you want it to be, create new experiences in any way, shape, or form. So I see it as a staircase. You take one step at a time, and you decide how you want it to look like. That is, and every time you are about to step up to take a new step upwards, you have to look at yourself and say, okay, where I'm holding myself small, so it's an effort for me to lift the foot and get up to the next.
That's a good way to think about it. Yeah,
it's more like,
feel like I'm really pushing up against something, right?
Yeah. So it's more like exploring you and coming closer to the core of you than to be finished.
Right. Yeah, I guess in the past, like I was saying, well, I'm like, I've released my money block, so I should be making lots of money. Right. But obviously there are other things, and it's not, unfortunately, it's not that easy, I think, just to go in. And I mean, like some of that stuff I'm sure has, but I think it is like a practice almost. It is like a slow, it's not just like suddenly tomorrow millions of dollars are floating into my world, though I wish that could be, and maybe sometimes that does happen. But I think, you know, I had a client
actually, she didn't win, but she had a hard time during the pandemic, and she was really stressed out about money. And I worked with her money blocks. I think it was Tuesday last week. The day after, she texted me and said that she, from the blue, got 3 people contacting her for work. And then on the Friday, I got a text where I put in the names. I don't know if you saw it, that she landed a contract for 20,000 pounds for the coming 8 weeks. So, I mean, those things are happening.
Right? It can happen, yeah. So I mean, back to our like work less, make more. Well, it sounds like you are helping people in this way, because otherwise it feels like it's a lot of hustle, and like we were talking about, like there's a lot of effort, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like just like what you just said. You helped this woman, and in 1 week she got like 3 new clients, and is out of the blue or easily got this contract that she was wanting. And that was that. So it doesn't have to be about working harder and doing certain strategies, though, you can't
You
just
have to have them as well.
right. You have to have them as well, but there has to be that balance, I think,
Yeah.
of if you're blocking it from coming in, no amount of it is going to make it come in. Or if it does come in, I feel like it's almost coming through a net and only a few little pieces can come in. And once you get these blocks, it's like the net is cut and allows the flow to come through, right?
Yeah, that's a good picture.
Yeah. So, so how do you normally work with people? Do you work one-to-one? It sounds like you do. I know you do that. Do you have other ways that you do?
I work one-to-one. I work in groups, especially clearing money blocks. And I also teach this method.
Oh, nice.
Because I want people to become self-sufficient, so they can work on their own blocks. And if you're a coach or something similar, you can help your clients the same way.
Oh, nice. So that you can, do you find you can help yourself, or is it something that works better when you're helping other people? I mean, sometimes it is hard for us to see our own stuff, right?
That's the thing. It's difficult for us to see our own stuff, but it works as well on your own stuff. And there are ways to trigger these things to come up.
Oh.
And I mean, when the first thing when I teach this is that they create a manifest for themselves. What do you want to create? And just the first sentence will always bring up, and we can, if I work with a client and we do that, we can work several sessions just on one sentence because it brings up so much stuff.
Right, right. Amazing. Okay, well, I'd love to keep talking to you forever about this, but so where can people get in touch with you and find out more? I hope this has piqued your interest, because sometimes you guys, if you're out there and you're trying everything and you feel like you're doing everything and it still isn't working, then there's probably some kind of a block or some kind of hidden thing that you are stuck in, right? Something hidden, or maybe even not so hidden, but it needs to be cleared out. So tell us how they can reach you and get more information.
Well, my best way is on Facebook still. On LinkedIn as well, but not so frequent on LinkedIn. And my website, and everyone has the same name as me, Evakarin Wallin.
Easy to find, and we'll link everything below, of course, in the show notes, and have links over. And so if somebody's not sure, they can chat with you and see.
Oh, they can always connect with me and say hi, and we get on a chat and take it from there.
Excellent. Well, this has been so amazing, and sort of a different way to work less and make more. But I think it's still, much needed, because like I said, sometimes we get to these places and we're just like, we've tried everything, or we're just getting frustrated. This should be working. And I mean, we know whether we're doing the things that we need to do. And then if there's something, and I think it doesn't matter whether things are going well, probably you work with people who things could even go better, right? Like there are always some things that could be cleared out. So if you want to have her, kind of clear some things for you, then please make sure you get in contact. And thank you so much. This has been really fun. I hope you guys who are listening got a lot out of it. And until next time, I will see you on the Work Less, Make More podcast.